so this was a valuable lesson for her, that regardless of whatever it was that she was trying to do, whether she was trying to see the little baby deer, whether she was trying to pet it, take a picture with it, or whatever, I bet she won't do that no more. Because can you imagine, like, being in the emergency room? And I know that the people in the emergency room, you know, they encounter a lot of things that come in there, but can you imagine, like, somebody coming in there talking about they got attacked by Bambi? You know, like, deers are supposed to be, I thought, the good old, nice, wholesome creature.
Hi, welcome to this edition of Real Talk with TAS and OnJerya. I am your host, Dr. Teresa Smith, Dr. TAS, and OnJerya is my beautiful, dynamic, sometimes dubious sister who tries to keep me in line. You know, she's the older sister of the pair. I'm just joking. I'm the older sister. But sometimes she treats me as if she is the older sister. Hi, Pelly Inspired. Thank you for joining us. See if I can get Miss OnJerya in here. Hey, Dr. Bam.
Hello.
The Lord answers prayers, OnJerya. I said, Lord, please let her come in. I said, we got a lot of rain, but please let her come on in.
Yes, honey, open the floodgates.
Open the floodgates. Let me see if I got
rain.
my volume up. No, my volume won't up enough because it's like, oh, I can't even hear this young lady here.
Let
Say
it
something.
rain.
Oh, I can hear you now, girl.
I can't remember. Is it Bishop Morton? Is it Bishop Morton? Is that his name?
That's Bishop Martin. I don't know what you're going with, but yeah, Bishop Martin.
That sings the song, Let It Rain.
Oh, I don't know.
No, I think it is him.
Okay.
I think it is Bishop Morton.
Okay. Thank you, Pel. Thank you for letting me know that you can hear us, because I was not quite hearing OnJerya, so my volume was not completely up. Huh?
He is.
I didn't understand you, OnJerya.
Clean your ears out. Open your ears.
Like I said, you know, she is the oldest sister, and I'm just gonna let her sit with that, because she telling me to clean my ears out. So I'm gonna let you sit with that, the older sister.
I am, because, you know, with the age difference that I'm not going to say, even though I know we probably done said it before in another lifetime, you know, I am, because I'm starting all over again.
Starting all over again. It's gonna be rough, so rough, but we're gonna make it. Okay, so you're gonna make it, OnJerya?
Yeah, girl.
I finally saw what you wanted me to see.
That video.
I saw the video right before we came on. I was still doing my homework, guys. She sent me something, and I was still doing the homework. She's like, well, have you watched? I'm like, no. Have you? No. I'm like, get off the phone so I can watch it. I finally saw it. Set it up for her. Sicily, 1920. Sicily,
Girl.
2025.
2025, I don't even know I'm going to say the month is May. I don't even know when this occurred, but all I know is
Jesus, take the wheel.
This is an example of, if you F around, you gonna find out.
You'll find out.
You gonna find out. If you have not been seeing this viral video that has been going around with this lady getting herself handed to her by Bambi, I highly recommend that you go search it and find it. I still don't understand what was going on, you know, and we're all speculating. So I don't know if she was, you know, trying to. And again, I don't know anything about animals. I barely know anything about real animals. Reading between the lines. I don't know anything about these four-legged animals, and I barely know anything about these two-legged animals.
As grandmama said, and mama said, all dogs ain't four-legged now.
They're not.
Okay. I'm serious again now.
They're not. All I know is that when I'm watching the video, I see a baby deer. So I don't know if they call it a foal or whatever. Again, I don't know. Running, huh?
Maybe there's a foe. I don't know. I'm sorry. I
Is
didn't
that
mean to
is that
interrupt.
what it is?
Maybe.
I
I
don't
don't
know.
know.
But anyway, all I see is baby deer take off running, and I'm assuming it's mama because I don't know, because it's giving mama deer energy. hmm And she was hitting it with the 1, 2, 3 combo. Okay, and I said to myself, "See, this is what be wrong with people. If you stay in your lane, you wouldn't be running into these unfortunate circumstances. But you see, when you don't stay in your lane, the universe has a way of handling you.
Yes,
And
yes, yes, yes.
this was a prime example of how she got handled. Now, there are different, of course, views of angles from this because I've seen one video where I guess it was a gentleman that was trying to like scare off the deer. Baby, you are on your own. Patty said it best.
Oh, my own. How did we get this way? Okay.
If
This
you are doing
wasn't
a
how
talk,
we were supposed to end.
why am I going to be trying to intervene? Because see that. That's part of the problem. See, we be wanting to be the saver hoe and save people all the
Mm-hmm,
time,
mm-hmm,
being that
mm-hmm.
good old Christian.
Question.
But sometimes it's not your turn to save them because as
Yes.
long as you continue to save them, they're never going to learn the lesson. And so this was a valuable lesson for her that regardless of whatever it was that she was trying to do, whether she was trying to see the little baby deer, whether she was trying to pet it, take a picture with it or whatever, um, I bet she won't do that no more. Because can you imagine like being in the emergency room? I know that the people in the emergency room, they encounter a lot of things that come in there, but can you imagine like somebody coming in there talking about they got attacked by Bambi? Like deers are supposed to be, I thought, like the good old nice wholesome creatures. I mean, we see them when we're driving. They look galloping across the road, and you like beep beep baby. You see them when you're driving. They on the side of the road, like they ready to play leapfrog, and it's like, baby, don't jump out here today. Okay, unless you're ready to meet your maker, don't come jumping out here today. And they don't, they. So I don't know what she did to Mama, but all I can say is I hope she learned her lesson and learned that she won't do that no more. And I say that as we are talking about this, as it relates to this lady and this deer, but also too as it relates to people in the real world with them
Yes.
two-legged
Yes.
animals.
Yes.
Stay in your lane. Sweep around your front step. Don't come over here worrying about what I got going on. It's none of your business. If I want to be your business, I make it yours. But because I haven't made it yours, it's nothing for you to be worried about. Because as you can see from that example, you see what happens.
So, well, let me just level set here, OnJerya. Let me just go back and reset. I want to welcome Brave, Bold, Brilliant Woman for joining us, and Anna Marie J. Harper for joining us. There's this viral video, and this lady is in the bushes, and I missed the baby running off, but it didn't matter. That was insignificant because this lady's back is to the deer.
Mm-hmm.
And this deer is up on two legs and is beating her in her back. And look like the lady goes down, and I don't know if the lady is coming back up, but every time the lady and the deer go down, you thought it was Muhammad Ali and Fraser,
Yeah.
uh, George Fraser. They go, she go down, the deer go down on her back. And it is, it's like, boom, 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 boom. And she go down, and then it's like, boom, 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 boom. So I guess she's trying to get up to run away. And he's like, boom, 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 boom. And again, we don't know how the lady and the deer got into this confrontation.
Mm-mm.
Um, but I think it is applicable to real life about stay in your lane. And we hear all the time about you're at the zoo, people at the zoo, and they said don't pet the animals, don't give them food, don't do that. And then the next thing you'll hear is a zoo animal, not necessarily attacked, but they be physically attacked. Somehow, no, they done got a hold of a two-legged human. But you're
Right.
not obeying the rules. The rules are there to protect you. So when you talk about getting in, hi Sonia River, thank you for joining. When you talk about staying in your lane as relates to us as the two-legged animals, those two-legged humans, it is so important because you can see on that video very clearly that she was in their natural habitat. And
Yes.
it just did not go over well. Oh, and that makes me think about, you know how people get out, your mama would say, Miss Gloria say, get out of their place. Get out of their
Get out
place.
there.
That's what Miss Gloria would say.
Right.
Shanze Mo, thank you for joining. Miss Gloria would say they get out their
Yeah, they
place. And
do.
let's talk about it with relationships. You at a you at a get together, party, club, whatever. And then somebody flirting with your man or your woman.
Ooh,
They could
hey.
they could be in your group. Let's let them be in your group. That makes it even better. Y'all going out, hanging out, going to the club, and we think we're gonna just be having a great time. And whoever's in this party, they may be linked with somebody or not, but they decide they gonna flirt with your person. Now you let go several different ways. Now I might take my earrings off. I might
Not
take my
the earrings.
shoes off, take my earrings
You
off,
gonna
take
take
my
them shoes
shoes off. I
down?
may take my hair out because you see, it's getting ready to go down. You know what they say? Take my hair off too, because I want to mess up my wig. Take my hair off. It's getting ready to go down because that person has gotten out of their place. And as Miss Gloria says this, she says this, you never know. You sometimes people are wanting a response out of you, but they don't know how you're going to respond
True.
because your response may be so over the top that they just never thought it would amount to all of that. But again, you're out of your place. And you can see it very clearly with relationships, but you see it also. Let's go to some instances of road rage.
Yep.
You may not have done anything to that person, but the perception, that person's perception is that you did. And so they come after you. You know, it's something to think about, you know. And then I think about on the flip side, sometimes we think it's kindness. I'm doing a kind act.
Right.
Oh, I'm gonna give you a good example. You're gonna know immediately what I'm talking about because it was your example that I used with some students back 4 or 5. Oh God, it's been that long ago. I used this example. I used it a long time ago now. The school thought that they were doing a good thing, you know, and I think it is a great thing. Don't get me wrong, but you gotta know your people. They sent home a bag of food with my niece. How you doing, Alfonso? Alfonso. She didn't know where I was gonna go with that.
Why
Thank you,
you got to
Alfonso.
bring that up?
Well, it just seems to fit in right now. They
Oh,
sent home that food buddy pack. Great idea. But let me just be real. My niece is is a good size.
yes.
She's always been a good size. She was a good
Yeah.
size in elementary. And this is when she was in elementary school. Where they sent home this backpack with food. I don't know
Mm-hmm.
why they did that. My sister OnJerya just couldn't handle it. She went ballistic. And she sent that back to them and she told them don't send that home with her daughter no more. Then she looked like she missed any food. And she missed a meal. Look at her. She like she missed any meals. Don't send that there. And my niece hasn't missed a meal. And she looked like she had missed a meal. You're meddling in something that has nothing to do with you. There are people who needed help. But you're gonna send a bag home with a child that really was, and I can say this even though I had gastric sleeve because I've always been a big girl. She was a tad. She's just a tad. No, let me do my Miss Glory. She was a half a pound overweight because that's Miss Gloria time. You know, my niece Alexis, she was a half a pound overweight. So she didn't need a food bag when there were people who actually needed it. So again, they had got out of their place, as Miss Gloria would say, and had gotten in your lane. Great, great thought process, great
Of
motivation, good
course.
project, good. But it was the wrong, it was the wrong family. And when I was teaching my counseling students, that happened, because you remember me telling you, it happened. I think it was in Georgia. The student was in Georgia,
Yeah.
and it happened. And I told my class about what had happened with you. Well, they didn't know it was you, but what had happened with some folks I knew, and that the schools got to repair that relationship now, because that mother was irate. Then not only did they send home food, then they turned around, if I'm not mistaken, and sent home some clothes. Oh no,
Oh,
maybe the mama let the food slide, but then when they sent them clothes home, she came up to the school. Stay in your lane. If I didn't ask you, what was your phrase? If I didn't send for you, don't come. Isn't that
yeah.
what you used to say?
But I
If I
do
didn't,
say, yeah, if I didn't send for you, don't come for me. And I
mm,
think the problem is that people are bored
mm,
and they
mm,
need some
mm.
entertainment. But it's like, baby, you need to find the right one that's going to entertain you.
Well, well, I'm trying to think quick here. Now, Dr. Bell had popped in, and he was saying that he's trying to shift the perspective. He's trying to shift the narrative. You know, because Dr. Bell is always talking about parent education, and we as educators, parent, parent, parent educating parents. But we as educators, we can, don't y'all throw no stones, but you feel sure to make comments when the live is done, and even now. As educators, we can only work with what you send us. Now, if you're not an educator, let me put it a different way. You're working on a job, and they want you to train some people, your co-worker, whatever. You can only work with what they've already hired. Because they're like, well, I don't understand why Teresa's not performing. I trained Teresa as best I could. I can only work with what you given me to train. So what I'm saying is we always focus, our focus is sometimes distorted. And I still think that lady meant well, but that was not the right time for that. She should have looked at what was being presented to her. I'm in this natural habitat. I'm in their house.
Right.
And I think I can be Goldilocks. I think I can go in there, perhaps to the deer's den, and we thinking maybe she had to do something to the baby. And that's the reason why the deer was so combative. Because I've never seen this before. I've never seen that before. That the animal is just beating somebody like that. And you said you thought at the beginning, because I didn't have just look at it once, that you see the little baby kind of like moving out the way, and then that deer is just beating this lady in her back repeatedly. So again, she didn't understand what she was dealing with. She was in their habitat. It was the deer and the adult deer. The deer is going to protect the baby.
Right.
So again, the deer can only deal with what was brought to them. And she decided that she was going to enter their habitat. And the deer was going to defend themselves in their own.
But to me, it goes back to the saying of we listen and we don't judge, but really we do judge because we as a society, and I do say we, not really wanting to include myself in that statement because, you know, I don't think that I judge people because, frankly, my dear, I have no room to judge what people have done, what they currently do, because I don't care. Like if it's not impacting me and mine,
Okay, Red
whatever
Butler.
your pleasure is, I'm here to support it. Okay. Like
Okay.
now when it starts impacting me and mine, then that's when, we have conversations. But as long as it's not impacting me and mine, have at it. But the problem is that we are judging, we are sizing people up, we are categorizing people. And even with that situation with me and Alexis, you know, they learned that day not to do that anymore. Because again, sometimes you need to ask the right questions. You know, you need to read the room to determine how you should move before moving in the situation. And so, yes, we are talking about the lady and Bambi, but we're also talking about in real life as a whole, regardless of what the scenario is, you know, because this is another controversial thing that's going on. Miss Shirley. I know you don't know who Miss Shirley is, Teresa. It's okay, don't worry about it. So Miss Shirley is a little toddler. I don't know how old she is. I don't know if she about 3, 4. She might be 5, but probably about a good 3, 4 years old. And she goes by the stage name of Miss Shirley. So Miss Shirley, you know, her parents.
Is she the fan girl? The fans.
Yeah, she the fans girl. She was just on. I think it was
With,
Jennifer Hudson
yeah,
or
yes.
Sherry
Mm-hmm.
Shepherd, somebody's
Yeah,
show.
somebody recently. Mm-hmm.
Or it could have been not Sherry. It could have been what's the other woman name?
It wasn't
Anyway,
Tamara.
it was another actress that was there on the
It was either
show.
Shirley. Well, I think either was it Shirley Raff.
Mm-mm.
Was it Vanessa? Oh no,
No, I don't
I
remember.
know who it was. Bus. She's got bosom. Niecy. Was it Niecy
I
Nash?
think it was Niecy
I think it was
Nash.
Niecy, but may have been with them. Anyway, I did see it, and the little girl. That's why I called her because normally I wouldn't know. Where them fans at? Wait a minute, boots on.
Yeah, yeah, yes. Well, Miss Shirley, somebody who didn't stay in their lane called CPS on
Oh, I
on the parents. Honey. And for those of you that know me in my real life, my guilty pleasure is I love to scroll on TikTok. Okay. I love to scroll on TikTok. To kind of like, you know, disconnect from the day to day. And I just happened to be scrolling and I saw the video of the nice little man who basically said he was the one that called CPS. He sure did. He sure did. He sure did. He did. He called CPS. And, you know, he just didn't know that by him calling CPS, that her mother was going to respond in the manner that she did.
like Mama said. How did her mama respond?
Oh, it went all the way to the left. It went all the way to the left. So of course, you know, when I first saw his video, you know how people be trolling. So I didn't really know if he was truly indeed the person that did it, or you know, people just be looking for their 15 minutes of fame, and he just was saying it. But no, I think yeah, he was the one that called CPS. So it's a lot of mixed emotions about the whole Miss Shirley skit. You know, some people are like, oh, you know, we just want to, you know, sexualize everything and really, you know, it's just a little girl having fun. What's wrong with that? Then, you know, the video came out last year. Might have been year before last. But anyway, it was the one of those trending challenges. And Miss Shirley had on her red dress. Was it Johnny Gill? Put on your red dress,
Okay.
your high heels.
Okay.
Is it Johnny Gill?
I think that's Johnny. That's Johnny if I'm not mistaken. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you know there was a video with Miss Shirley, you know, and she got on her red dress, you know, so you know she's doing exactly like what the song is saying. And so, you know, people felt that again, her family is exploiting her. And again,
My,
like I said,
my, 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 my.
it's very much mixed emotions about it because again, you have the people that are like, you know, it's just a little girl dancing. There's no harm with it. But then you have those that are like, yeah, it's a little girl dancing, but now you're booking her to come and dance at your trail ride or whatever little gathering you're having. So now is it just I'm dancing for fun or now am I actually like exploiting the child? So I don't fault him for being protective.
Yes.
Because first of all, he was a black man, and I hate to say what I'm about to say. And again, disclaimer: y'all don't shun me. It's kind of nice to have um um. I gotta clean this up. Well, I guess there really ain't no way of cleaning up. Um, it's nice to see that there are some men, and particularly black men, that are not afraid to speak up. That he felt empowered to do something. Now, whether again he right or wrong, it doesn't matter. He saw something that he felt to him was inappropriate. And we're not here to judge to say whether, her dressing a certain way, whether her acting a certain way is appropriate or not. Because again, as we all know, everybody is raised different. What was cool in your household may not have been cool in mine, and it's okay. Like, we're not gonna fall out over it. But it is kind of nice to see that, that male perspective, because again, you don't really hear and see that a lot. But yet he owned up to it and said that he the one that called CPS and he didn't know it was gonna, blow up like it did. But again, that's another example of we don't know what's going on in that household. We are spectators. We on the outside looking in. And we're making a judgment based off of what we're seeing. Again, whether right or wrong, we're making a judgment call off of what is being presented to us. And so I guess my thing is, was he wrong? Do you think that he was wrong? Like that he should have stayed in his lane?
Well, let me just say this, OnJerya. The first time I saw Miss Shirley, I'd seen her, let me say within the last 2 months, I'd seen her. I haven't seen her in the red dress because I don't know how to follow her, but I'd seen her. And then I saw a clip, and I think it was Niecy Nash, but it was one of our good, our black actresses, and I want to say it's our ABC person. It was on an
Mhm.
ABC show. But maybe it was Niecy because I can sort of see because you tell me it won't Vanessa and it won't
Mhm.
okay, so I think it was
Yeah.
Niecy, and I don't remember whose show it was. It was either
I think it was
Jennifer or
Jennifer
I think
Hudson.
it was Jennifer's show, and the little girl was dancing, and I'm like, oh, that's that little girl that I've seen, and maybe I was hearing them say Miss Shirley, and so I know Jesus Blackman gonna jump in here. Jesus, you right on time, and I saw that, but let me tell you, I was seeing her before. And I was like, huh. And then I happened to just catch that little clip with her on, we think it was Jennifer Hudson's show. But let me tell you what I thought about, because I didn't know all this other stuff had happened um, since then.
Yeah.
But it made me think about I think I've heard them say now, but I don't remember them saying it years ago. It made me think about the John Benet Ramsey.
Yeah.
I think I'm saying it
Yeah,
correct.
John Benet Ramsey.
Yeah, it makes me think about her. And I think years past, people have started to talk about maybe she was being sexualized. And John Benet Ramsey, for those who don't remember, This is a little girl that was murdered, and it's an unsolved murder, Midwest, I'm going to say. I don't remember which state. And she was in beauty pageants. And so when they show her on television, you see this little girl all made up. Maybe she wasn't in beauty pageant, but she could have been made up for her dance recitals. Because when the little girls do their dance recitals, they have on makeup and they have on their costumes. So I can't remember whether she was in beauty
It was
pageants or she was in beauty pageants.
mm-hmm.
And so she's all made up, and I can see it in my head, the blonde hair and the bang, and maybe her hair's kind of put up, and maybe like a little sequence, the uniform and everything. But years ago, when that happened, there was not talk about sexualizing her. But I've heard since then, sometimes when they bring it up, was she being sexualized and da 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 da. So I'm going to say, I'm not up on what's been going on with Miss Shirley, and I didn't even know this had happened. But
Yeah.
I think, as you said, I'm going to look at this one a little
Okay.
different. If you see something, say something, because we don't know. But I think that for the Black man to see something that didn't sit well with him, he took the proper channels because he didn't talk to the family. He did what we should do as responsible citizens if we think something's wrong. He reported. Now, we don't know the outcome of the CPS, Child Protective Services visit. We don't know the outcome. And I did not think that they're not supposed to, I didn't think unless something's changed, that they're supposed to tell you who actually submitted that that gave them the alert. I can't think of the right words right now. Who reported? Who reported that? So I'm concerned about that because there are times, not necessarily this time, where children need help, and if people report. And then folks know that they are the ones that are reporting, people are going to be less likely to seek out and try to help those children who may be in need. Hello, Jesus Blackman. And so, that's what's important to me. But I agree with you. I think that for that Black man to step up and report, what he thought he was seeing. But then it's up to the authorities to determine whether or not there's anything that's happening that is not appropriate. But no, I did not know that had happened with Miss Shirley. I tell you.
I mean, again, I can see it both ways.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm very neutral, right? I do think, Lord, I hate being like back in my day, right? Make it
Back
sound
in
like
your day.
right, make it sound like I'm old as all get out. Not that old, but I feel like when I was younger, I mean that doesn't sound any better, but
No, don't. But a couple years back.
yeah, a couple of years back, life before
Yeah.
social media. Picture it, life before social media, where our social media consisted of, Yahoo Messenger, AOL Messenger, MySpace, Black Planet. Am I missing anything? Like that was kind of like our version of like social media, right? I don't think we were as sensitive as people are today. You know, um, because today, and I don't know if it has anything to do with the the Me Too movement or like whatever, but I feel like now any and everything that is done, posted, spoken on, or whatever is immediately like you're being overly sexualized. Like everything is just oozing sex. But I feel like things have always been like that. We just didn't think like that, if that makes sense. Because even when I hear people, talk about like the Disney cartoons or just like the Looney Tunes and Tom and Jerry and things, we were kids just watching Tom and Jerry.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Mm-hmm.
it. Like, I didn't think that at the age of 13, at the age of 10, the age of 5, even at the age of 21, that there was things that were being depicted in those cartoons that made me be like, you know what? That was very sexual. What would just show? What was like that? Those were thoughts that did not cross my mind. Now that I'm wiser, I can kind of see things that did happen where, it's like, okay, I guess I can kind of see how you arrived at that. But again, is it more so that it's always been there and we just turned the other cheek? Or was it that we just wasn't, I guess, reading more into things like we are now?
Well, it's always been there. Let's just be real. Sex is always so. We've always seen it. Let's go back to I think about the Virginia Slim cigarettes, and this is probably for your time. But I can remember seeing them, the advertisement, like in magazines and things like that. You think about, and I don't know what brand is. I think it was a brand of cigarettes. The gentleman, the cowboy, and then we moved.
Oh,
We started
the
progress.
camel.
Which one? What now?
Oh, wait, no, that was camel with the actual camel.
Okay. Yeah. And so but those are just two things that immediately come to mind. But it's all, and then is it Brooke's Shield it surfaces every now and then about some ad that she did when she was much younger. She wasn't maybe fully clothed. I think it's Brooke Shield. And then if you want to go back, you want to hang with Brooke Shield in Endless Love,
Oh,
the movie Endless Love. There was some scuttlebutt. That movie was made maybe in the 80s. There was some scuttlebutt about them not being completely clothed. But I mean, I saw that movie so many years ago. I don't really remember, but I don't think that you could see anything. I don't believe, but then maybe it gave the illusion that you were seeing something. So there was scuttlebutt about that. So basically, we have evolved. Maybe it was subtle
right.
50 years ago, 50, 60 years ago. It was subtle, but as we continue to evolve, it's not subtle anymore. Also, we have always had um, individuals being sexually molested, being abused. We've always had that, but people were not as vocal. People are more vocal now. And then when you bring on the cell phones, so there's always a video camera around because people have their cell phones. Then you add the social media level to it. So I think it's just that awareness now, and people just view things differently. But sometimes it's almost like a contradiction. I may view this portion differently, but then when I see this, I don't look at it the same. And I think that's because we've become desensitized. Because you think about it, it's always been some sexual element, but we're evolving. But if it's always been there, as it you know, you think about now, I want to use that as an example, but things happen slowly.
Right.
So you know, we slowly get desensitized to what we see. So you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Um,
I also think that we were innocent. Like, even though we know that things like that were happening, it wasn't like in your face talked about like it
yeah,
is now. And I think that's part of the problem, is that we want to make everything be about sex. Of course, it's always been there. I mean, come on, we can talk about Betty Boop. Everybody loved them a good old Betty Boop, but when you now it's like, oh, boop 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 boopy boop was a whole prostitute. But we weren't talking about Betty Boop being a prostitute in the 80s and 90s and the early 2000s. That's just now coming out, in the last few years, that, oh, Betty Boop isn't really who we thought Betty Boop was. And even when you are looking at like I said, even with like the different cartoons, like the Rugrats and Doug and Rocco's Modern Life. I know I'm very much going back old school cartoons. Like, looking at those again, it was just innocent. Like I guess we were just innocent. We were kids, and I think the problem is that kids are not kids anymore. You got kids that are under the age of 10 and can tell you more about sex than you as a whole adult know because of the things that they are exposed to. So it's like
Let me
we've
interrupt
taken
there for a
no
moment
innocence away.
because you bring up another point. So my question is, because I said to you, but you kind of going slightly different here. So are you suggesting that? See, I was maybe naive
I guess I was
because
very much naive.
I wasn't thinking that much about Miss Shirley. I'm looking at she's dancing.
Right.
I wasn't looking at her. You know, now she dancing, she can dance. You know, I can't. I'm about to get up on this because Miss Shirley can really do the dance. And she got that. She threw that, but she get that little. I don't have it like that. So I was looking at, okay, she's dancing. I wasn't looking at her as being. I wasn't looking at her from a sexual perspective. But I hear what you're saying. Yes, there are kids who know more about sex than adults because of their environment.
Right.
But that goes back to what Dr. Bell was saying. That's on the parents.
Right.
That's on the parents. But the question becomes, as a society, we have always sexualized because sex sells.
It
Sex
does.
equals money. We do it in everything. If we're going to shoot a commercial for a business, hi Latasha Watts, thank you for joining us. If we shoot a commercial for a business, they're not going to get someone that they feel that society is not going to look at as attractive.
Right.
They're not, unless that particular commercial subject aligns to that. But even then, the person may not be extremely unattractive because they're trying to appeal to the masses. So I think, you know, as parents and aunties, we have to be mindful of what we bring in front of our kids so that we don't inadvertently sexualize them and then give other people that message. Because I don't know anything about what that gentleman was thinking. I haven't seen the video. But because our world is so interesting, I would not, hey Latasha, I would not want anything to happen because people saw her. I would not want anything to happen to her and somebody else's mind doesn't understand this is a little girl. Because she's a young child.
And I think that's what the bigger picture is for the ones who say, if you have particularly if you are male, you have a problem with it because there's something wrong with you. Like you must be a pedophile. You must be whatever to see it not as a little girl just out here playing dress up or whatever in our mama's heels. And I mean, we were little kids, you know, we play dress up, you know, put your makeup on, whatever, had fun, innocence, right? It's something wrong with you because you see it as more than just this little girl just dressing up, having a good time. And again, we can't confirm nor deny whether the people who are saying that there's a problem, particularly the males, if they are pedophiles or this, and it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, it's all about your interpretation of what you see. Because we can be looking at the same movie.
Yep. See something totally different.
And see something totally different.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I think the thing is like I understand his perspective. I understand everybody's perspective, which is why I'm like, I'm neutral. You know, do I think that some things that she does is a little questionable? I can see how it can be a little questionable. You know what I'm saying? But again, I also grew up with Miss Glory that didn't play that. You know, like Miss Gloria didn't play that.
Nope.
You being in grown people faces and you a child. She didn't play that.
Yeah.
Um, she didn't play that you being a little girl and being hugged up on grown men or even being hugged up on people, period. She didn't play that. So for me, like the way I would view it, and again, that's going to dictate based off of your experiences, off of your upbringing, your environment, what someone may see as innocent may be a red flag to somebody. So, you know, do you do something about it like the gentleman did, or do you stay quiet? Do you go mess with the baby deer like the lady did? Because maybe the baby deer was stuck in the brushes or the branches or whatever, and she thought, oh, let me go free little Bambi. And mama was like, baby, I got this. Like, it's like we don't know. It's like when you see something, we say when you see something, report it. But then also it is that catch-22 of like, well, if I report it and it backfires, now I'm the bad person. But then if I don't report it and it backfires, I'm still the bad guy because I knew about it and I could have did something about it and I chose not to. So what do you do?
You make the best decision you can with the information that you have. And it sounds like that's what the gentleman did. And he did what he thought was right, you know. And the thing is, nowadays, it's always a tightrope with everything.
Yeah.
What they used to say, you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. And again, you got to, whatever you do decide to do, you got to be able to live with it.
Yeah.
Your moral compass has to guide you. And if you can live with it, then that's fine. But if you can't live with it, then you have to rethink what you're doing, what you're going to do. And I think that both situations, the deer, the lady and the deer, the lady being beaten in her back by the deer, for those who've come in late, being beaten in her back by this deer. And we're speculating that maybe the lady was maybe, like you said, maybe the deer was caught and she was trying to help get the deer free, but it don't matter. The lady is being beaten in her back. The deer is standing up on the back hind legs and beating this lady in her back. She goes down, trying to get up. The deer rose back and beats her back down. I didn't know about Miss Shirley and that someone had contacted Child Protective Services. Again, obviously the gentleman felt that something from his perspective was amiss. The idea that he may be a pedophile or something like that, that anything is possible.
Right.
But probably he reported it because he felt some kind of way. It doesn't mean that he was necessarily sexually attracted to her, but he felt some kind of way about seeing that. And then he may have thought, oh my God, what if pedophiles start seeing this little girl? They may then target this little girl. So again, I don't know what his motivation was. It could be that he is a strong Black male father. And he saw that and he's like, oh no, because he's looking at it as this could be my little girl. And that could invite trouble. And I don't want that to happen. But he made a decision that he felt that he could live with. And that, we have to honor that because he reported. And so now Child Protective Services has to do their due diligence. And if they find there's nothing wrong, then there's nothing wrong. My concern, as I said earlier, is that when he had to come out and say that, my thing is, what happened that make him then go to social media to say that he's the person that reported that?
Because people
Because you
were
are supposed to be able to
speculating.
do that anonymously. Hmm?
Because people were speculating. And that's why I said I don't know if he was truly the person that
Okay.
did it. Like, I don't, I'm going to assume that he was, because I wouldn't think that if you, but again, people are sick and twisted and they're trolling and they're looking for their 15 minutes of fame. So we're going to assume that he was the person that did it, and I don't know if it was because of all the backlash that was going on where he's like, okay, let me just kind of smooth this over. Because as he stated, he just didn't know. I mean, because the mother went off. I mean, she went on social media and was cussing and fussing and just went all the way off as if she was fighting that man, like that deer was fighting that woman. She was upset. And it's like, I understand why she was upset, but again, just like with these celebrities, when when you open that door to that limelight,
Mm-hmm.
you know that you're under a microscope.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. And any and everything that you do is going to be scrutinized. So, as they say, if you can't take the heat, you need to stay out the kitchen. Because you know that people are always going to have something to say, good, bad, or whatever. They always going to have something to say. It's up to you to determine, one, how you going to deal with it. Because people not going to stop talking. Just because this one isolated situation happened, okay, say CPS come back and say everything's good. There's no harm, no foul. She good to go. Okay, cool. Well, then it's going to be something else, and it's going to be something else, and it's going to be something else. So, are you going to be acting up on social media every time somebody has something to say? Because now, in my mind, you don't put a target on your back where you don't have to worry about somebody next time reporting you, right? Because once it's already in the system, you kind of got that target that's lingering there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because now it's like, oh, well, we didn't find anything that time.
That time. Mm-hmm.
But now let's sit back and watch, and let's see what happens. And then maybe we'll get you the next time. Or it may not be the next time. It may be the time after that. Again, we don't know. But I do feel like it's all in how you handle the situation. I do think she does have every right to be upset, to express how she feels. I don't think that she probably handled it in the best way. Because again, it goes back to what are you teaching your kids? Because one day, that little girl, Miss Shirley, and that ain't even her name, but Miss Shirley gonna grow up and she gonna be a teenager. She's gonna be an adult. So are you instilling in her the values of when something doesn't go your way or somebody makes you feel some kind of way, just get on social media and rant about it because that's what people do. But is that the best way of handling something?
Well, Miss OnJerya, I got it right, didn't I?
Yeah,
Well, Miss OnJerya, um, we have to learn to self-regulate now.
exactly.
Because now I can remember when I was a little girl, there was a person that when they was upset, you could hear them outside their house. But that wasn't social media. So nobody could hear it except for us in the neighborhood. And I live right beside them. So you can hear them. But you see, now once I go online and do that, that's there forever. So the whole globe has heard me. And I learned when that person would do that, and you could hear them, that the windows were up, guys. It was summertime, so that's how you could hear them. I learned, oh, you got to hold your mule, as they say, because you get to saying some stuff that you don't want folks to hear. But once they've heard it, they've heard it. And you can't pull it back. And so I think that, as you said, to sum this up, I think the biggest lesson as it relates to that situation is, as we say, as I used to say when I was a little girl, or as I say, the children are watching.
Yeah.
They're watching and they're listening. And we are their first role models, the people that are in the homes, the mothers, the daddies, the siblings, the auntie, whoever's in that home, grandparents, whoever's in that home, and whoever's home they go to visit the most when they're in their formative years. That's what they're going to absorb. And then that's what they then show to the world. And when you get the call from school or whomever, and you're like, well, why is little Billy acting like that? And then when Billy's mom and dad come in, you see why little Billy acting like that. And that's not appropriate for the school setting. It may be okay at home, but it is not appropriate for this setting. And so we have to always keep that in mind. And unfortunately, I got to say this as a person who is sexually abused, we have to think from that perverted mindset in order to protect our children, whether it's a little boy or it's a little girl, because people are different. And maybe 40, 50 years ago, we know it was happening. So pedophiles is not new. It was happening. We just didn't hear about it. But the thing is, lots of individuals have had encounters with pedophiles, whether they're males or females. And the thing that's a little different now is, well, it's a lot different.
It's public knowledge. It's public knowledge. You get notification. I mean, I don't know where you
on the registry.
Yeah, like I don't know if like you know, because I don't know if you're on like any type of like neighborhood apps or whatever, but like I'm on Nextdoor and people be on it, okay? Like they be on it. They be like such and such that moved into the neighborhood and they're a pedophile and they got their whole history run down and you like, wow, okay. You know, like it's like people just be stalking those people. And I'm not saying that you should or shouldn't, again, you know. But yeah, I think we know about it. We knew about it then, but it wasn't in your face, right? Like I'm sure there's always been like this national registry of, you know, sex offenders, et cetera. We just wasn't checking it every 2.5 seconds, where now it's like you have to let it be known when you are in so many miles of like a school that, you know, whatever. I do think it's now a little bit more in your face because, again, the internet has evolved.
Yeah.
So it's more information available to us than it was, you know, 20, 30 years ago.
So, you know, we have to do our due diligence. And like I said, you know, you're a mother. I'm not a mother, but I'm a mother through you being a mother. We have to, unfortunately, we have to think about those things, and we have to be vigilant.
Yeah.
We just have to be vigilant. Well, Miss OnJerya, I'm gonna let you have the last word. Don't you like when I can get it like she says it, because it's OnJerya, but Miss OnJerya.
Oh gosh, she gonna watch this on the replay.
Love you, Mon. Love you, Mon.
She gonna watch this on the replay and be like, "Your sister."
Miss OnJerya.
The moral of the story is this: stay in your lane.
Stay in your lane.
Stay in your lane. Stay in your lane. If you see it and you deem it important to share it, report it. Because again, we don't know. We really don't know. Because we don't know. Because a lot is happening, things are changing, and it's rather than to be safe than to be sorry, because you don't want to ever have something to happen and you had an opportunity to do something about it and you chose not to, because then you also have that on your conscience. As it relates to Miss Lady and Miss Dear, woo, I stay in your lane. Regardless of what was going on with little Bambi or a little whoever, stay in your lane. Because ultimately, You bit off more than you can chew, and mama attacked and handled you. So again, just stay in your lane and just be mindful of things that are going on around you, and understand that everything is not always what it appears to be.
All righty. And Jay gave us our final words to take away. Stay in your lane. Things are not always what they appear to be. And be careful when you're around Bambi. Because
Yes.
Bambi can get a little, what's that phrase? And Bambi can be a little mischievous sometimes.
Okay.
That Bambi has been a whole lot mischievous. And I do hope that that lady is okay,
Yeah.
because she took a beating. She took a beating. And on that note, before you go trying to take care of someone else, please make sure you take care of yourself first. And thank you so much for joining us for our exclusive IG Live show, Real Talk with TAS and OnJerya. And we'll see you next time. Bye now.
Bye.